Hello, Keith Walker speaking. The purpose of this posting is to address your next assignment, which is your strategic plan. Now, your strategic plan is being done in a group of 4. Willie's informed me that 90% of the students are already in groups. The remaining 10% will be placed in groups very shortly. Now, the reason we want you to work in groups is for the very purpose of learning to communicate with each other. That's a very real activity you have to do in the real world. You need to communicate with staff below you, you need to communicate with staff above you, you need to communicate with other businesses. So this is a little chance for you to practice your communication skills. Now, to kick that off, I would like each student to go into their group whatever they are, 15, and introduce themselves to their fellow students. It could even be that you already know them, you've been at university with them for a couple of years, but not all groups will be that knowledgeable of each other's personal background. So I'd like students to go in as a matter of the exercise and just introduce themselves, just a couple of lines. Keep it general, keep it professional, no profanity or bad language or anything like that will be tolerated at all. And just introduce yourself as Keith Walker, apparently a full-time student in construction, blah, 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 whatever your circumstances may be. For those of you who are in the workforce already, you can just tell your fellow students you work at the moment. You may tell them you're working for Company X on a Sydney construction site or something like that. Obviously keep anything commercial in confidence. We don't want you putting any of that up on the website, but just talk to your fellow students. That gives them a little bit of background about your experience. The advantage of that will be for students that perhaps are in a group where they're in with 3 other people, but those 3 other people aren't from the campus, they're from around the world, and it could be anywhere. And that will give them the chance to see what your experiences are, and it will give you a chance for the group synergy to develop, and it's also, again, you practicing your communication skills. So step 1 is when you're in your group, just introduce yourself to your fellow group members. The strategic plan, now we used to, in the past, we've tried to teach students strategic plan and business plan. We found that led to a lot of confusion. Trying to simplify a strategic planning, and you've got a lot of text readings you've already worked your way through, is there's sort of when you come to form a business, you end up deciding what you're going to do, where you're going to do it, and how you're going to do it. The strategic planning part is the what and the where. The how can be a financial plan, it can be a marketing plan, it can be an advertising plan. There's a whole lot of other plans that go into business, but we're trying to focus on the strategic side of this business for you as a group. Now, to a certain degree, we're limited to the what and where. We put you in a construction company, construction course, so that's no big deal, and we've put you in Victoria because that's where we've had to base all our data. But you still, as a group, have to decide what you're going to do with your company. You get a company of 12 staff, and you can see all their details inside Arousal. And there's activities you're going to have to perform for that company. You're going to have to decide to hire and fire people. You're going to have to decide some salary levels. You're going to have to decide the skill set you need inside your company to push for different contracts you might want to push for. You do this in the context of a 2-year plan. You'd like your company to start here and finish there in 2 years' time. Now, as I've said in the lecture we've just completed, your strategic plan is assessed against your fellow students. There's no absolute right or wrong answer for a strategic plan. There's no absolute or right or wrong company outcome at the other end. The most important thing is that you learn something from this for 2 reasons. That's the whole essence of the course, that you do learn something to take into the real world. And you do need to have explained to us at the end of the course in your reflective report for 30% of your mark what you have learnt. Now, it could be that you've learnt that your strategic plan was faulty and that you failed to hire the right staff and you didn't pay attention to your profit margins and this happened and that sort of thing. There's no absolute learning outcome we want, it's just that you've learned something. And you've also learnt the consequences of what your actions are. So if you've done this to your company, carried out strategy X and it failed and you realise that you didn't employ the right staff, then you can go back and review it. Hopefully that's what will happen to improve your company. So again, there's a matrix there that you can look at. Please pay attention to that in the course outline. That'll show you the assessment rubric that I use. I have quite quite confident that every single individual group should pass the strategic plan. My expectation is that you should be able to, by now, put together something that will entitle you to at least a pass as a group. The plan will be formed as a group. You learn to communicate with your group. You then individually go into arousal for yourselves, and you take that initial plan from your group into the arousal simulation. What you do with it after that and how you grow your company after that is up to you individually. Willie and I have no objection to you continuing to stay in touch with your group. We have no objection to you continuing to help your group as a support group and things like that. We have made it that individuals have to do their plans. That gets us over a problem from the past where 3 members did the work and 1 member didn't. So this way everybody has to do the arousal simulation and everybody gets assessed against everybody else. So I look forward to seeing your efforts at the strategic plan. The deadline for that is very clearly marked in the outline. You've got plenty of time from now, so you've got a couple of weeks from now to submit it. Again, I encourage you to get into your groups, and I know you're very close, all of you are very close to being in groups. I encourage you to introduce yourself to your group members in a professional and commercial and confidence fashion, and I look forward to seeing your efforts at the other end and being able to assess them for you. Thank you very much. Bye.